Right, hello people, my name's Ollie from Londonpatchwork.com. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a violin patch in Serum. So we're kind of trying to emulate the violin from the beginning of Clean Bandit rather B. So I'll give you a quick demo. Okay, so as you might notice, it doesn't sound exactly like a real violin, but it's a pretty good synthesized version of a violin. So yeah, we'll crack on. Right then, quickly load up a new version of Serum and copy the Midi pattern down. And we're going to mute that original version up there. Okay, so here we go. Firstly, oscillator A is going to be an MB saw, and oscillator B is going to be an MB triangle. Okay, and the unison on oscillator A is going to be 3. The detune is going to be 0.05. The blend is going to be 39. The phase is going to be turned down to 0, and the randomized phase is going to go down to about 60. Now the wavetable position is going to be about 78, and we're going to turn this warp modulator to a bend minus, and then we're going to have that set to about minus 29%. And we're going to turn this level all the way down for the time being. We're going to modulate that back up in a little bit. Okay, so oscillator B again is going to be a unison 3, and we're going to have the detune to somewhere about 0.10, and we're going to have this blend literally just up a little bit. Let's go for 5. I'm going to have the phase down to 0 and the phase randomized to about 39ish. 38 is fine. The wavetable position on oscillator B we're going to have to 110. We're going to leave the warp modulator off, and again we're going to turn the level all the way down. Right, now we're going to turn the filter on. We're going to leave it on this filter type, and we're just going to make sure both of these oscillators are running through that filter. We're going to leave key tracking off, and we're going to have the filter cut off at about 99 from what I can see. You can hear the dog running around in the background. The resonance can be left on 10%, the pan, the drive, the fat and the mix can all stay as they are, which is 0, 0 and then 100% mix. Okay, so envelope 1, we're going to get the attack to 360 ms. Not sure why it's not letting me double click and type. One moment. There we go, that's better. Okay, and we're just going to curve that envelope up to that kind of shape. The hold will be on 0. The decay is going to be 3.5, 3.15 S. And the sustain is going to be minus 8.5. I'm just going to straighten that curve up, so it's just a straight. and the release will be 192, so 192 ms. We're going to connect this to the level of oscillator A and B. Fucking dog. I'm going to get the envelope to change the volume on these two oscillators by 50. Okay, then onto envelope 2. This is going to have 843 ms of attack. Where's this dog? Get on your bed, you little shit. Little bugger. Right, so envelope 2, the attack is going to be 843 ms, and we're going to curve that up again. Okay, the decay is going to be 1.61, and then S for seconds. Sustain, we're going to make this 50%, and the release, we're going to make this 2.6 seconds. Okay, and now we're just going to change the curves. I think that looks about right. And we are going to connect envelope 2 to the filter cutoff, and we're literally going to give this a tiny bit of modulation just so it opens up an ever so small amount as the note plays through. Somewhere about 6 should be fine. Right, envelope 3 is going to have 300 ms of attack, no hold. We're going to give this a long decay of 20 seconds. And sustain, we're going to drop to 60%. And the release we can leave where it is. I'm just going to zoom out on this. And I'm going to pull that down. So we're going to pull the decay curve down, and we're going to push the attack curve up. Somewhere about that looks perfect. Or maybe you might pull this decay curve down a bit more. That looks more like it. Okay. Right then, and for envelope 3, we are going to attach this to the fine pitch of both oscillator A and B. And then I'm going to shift click. Oh. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go into the matrix to do this. And I'm going to turn these both to a left to right type. And have the amount. Let me check on the other patch what the amount is. We're going to have this up to about 5. Brilliant. And oops, wrong one. Set that to about 5. And we're going to turn the curve up to about 40. Now it's important that both of these settings are the same. It doesn't matter if they're not exactly 40, but they both, if one is 40, the other one needs to be 40. So there we go. Good stuff. Right, there's the envelopes done. And now we will go to the LFOs. Okay, so LFO 1 is going to be on off mode, and it's going to be set to anchor and BPM, and then we're going to leave it at 1/4, so that one's perfect. And this will be connected to the fine pitch of oscillator A and B again. I think I'm just going to connect these for now, and then I'll go into the matrix and we'll set the parameters for those in a minute. So let's just get all these these LFO settings set up first before we set the amount of modulation. Okay, so the rate 1/16 for LFO 2, and the rise we're going to make that 1/4. And again, it's going to be off mode anchor BPM. LFO 3, we're going to change the shape of this. Oh, I think we need to change the shape of LFO 2 as well while I'm here. Yep, so we're just going to drag this middle point over to somewhere there and make a bit of a curve. Very good. Okay, off onto LFO 3. And yep, so if you haven't done already, drag the peak of LFO 3 down to somewhere just above the first line, if you can just about see the line going across. And we're going to turn the rate to 1/8. And we're going to have a slight rise in this of about a quarter note, 1/4. Great, and now we're going to, while we're still on this section, we're going to connect the key tracking, or the note on this, as it's called, to the filter cutoff, and we're just going to give that about 12. Just going to change the modulation up about 12. Oh, brilliant. Now I'm going to turn the polyphony, however you say that. Never ever any good at saying that. Polyphonic. So we're going to turn the poly to a set of 4, and we're going to turn the curve to scaled and turn this up to about 60. And now we're going to turn the portamento up to about 7 ms. Okay, great, and that's that section completed. So now let's go into the matrix, and we'll just make sure that these LFOs are set up to the correct amount. So LFO 1, that's connected to the fine pitch of both oscillators. We want that set to a depth of around 8. And then this one needs to be 8. Okie dokie, brilliant. Oh, better go and connect these LFOs, hadn't I? LFO 2, we can ignore for the time being. We'll set that up in the matrix. LFO 3, this will be connected to the fine pitch. Here we go. Oh, make sure that that is set to 0, the fine pitch on both of these before the modulation. So as far as I can see on my other patch, this should be set to a left and a right. LFO 1 and LFO 3 should be set to a left and a right. Brilliant. And LFO 3 should be set to an amount of -10. So you set those both to -10. And now we're going to set up Chaos 1, and we're going to connect Chaos 1 to LFO 1 rate, and we're going to aux source this by LFO 2, and we're going to turn the amount to that for about 47. LFO 3 is set up, LFO 1 is set up. I'm going to stick Chaos 2 on twice, and I'm going to kick that to the fine pitch of both oscillators. Okay, and I'm going to have that set to around 12 or 14 will be fine, 13. Okay, now I'm going to go into the global and just make sure that the mono is turned on to both of these chaos. So these are similar to LFOs as far as I can tell, but they seem to be more random. So they're like a almost like a white noise LFO. So they just give you a bit of randomization. We'll have a quick listen to how this sounds. So 1 second. Okay, so as you can hear, it's getting there, although it's very quiet. Let me turn the level up to full from envelope 1. Okay, now let's get into the FX section. So we'll turn on hyper and we'll turn the rate to about 3%. Turn the detune up to 69%. Great, and we'll turn this mix down to about 22%. And we'll make sure the mix is all the way down on the dimension expander for the time being. EQ, we'll drag this up so that it's directly underneath the hyper dimensions so that we can see that the chain is correct. I'm going to drag the volume all the way down, or the gain all the way down to 0. And then the Q wants to be just under what it is set to as a standard, so let's do it 57%. And the frequency we're going to turn down to about 145-ish. 140 will be fine. Okay, and then we want a compressor, so we'll drag this again up so that it's the next effect module in the chain, and we're going to leave the threshold where it is. Going to have the ratio set to 4:1, so that can stay where it is. The attack will be at about 130 milliseconds. That will be fine, 128. And we're going to turn the release up just so that this outlasts the note being played, so 350 will be fine. And I'm going to turn the multiband on. I'm just going to see if I've got any of these multibands. Okay, so that high frequency, we want to turn that up to about 150%, but we'll leave the other two frequency bands at their standard level. Now I'm going to turn this down a bit. I don't know if you can hear, it's got a bit of some weird kind of phasey undertone to it, so we'll try and filter that out quickly now before we put any more effects on it. It's obviously being boosted by the multiband compressor, so I'm going to give it a high 24 and then it's going to quickly sweep this cutoff up. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it about there because I don't want to sweep too many frequencies, and then I'll get rid of that frequency externally from Serum afterwards with a high pass filter. So yeah, now we're going to put a reverb, but we make sure that the filter comes after the compressor and that the reverb is last in the effects chain. And we're going to put the mix on 20%, that's fine. Spin depth we're going to have on about 54, so we'll turn that up some. There we go. The spin rate can stay on 25. High cut we're going to turn up to about 45. Low cut we're going to sweep this up a little bit to about 15%. The decay we're going to turn down to about 2.5 seconds. And the size will be, I think where it is, about 25%. Okay, well no, we'll turn it down to 25%. So let's have a listen to this now. Okay, and you can probably still hear that phasey kind of undertone. It's a side effect of this MB saw wave type. I'm not quite sure why, but it's got that sound to it. So I'm gonna stick a auto filter on, which is just basically a standard filter in Ableton, and I'm just going to sweep this frequency up. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the finished patch. Let's have a quick listen with the cello instrument underneath. Okay, so do tweak this and play around with it. See if any different wave types can make this sound better or worse, or make new instruments out of this. It's quite easy to turn this into a kind of brassy sound. I mean, let's have a little play around and see what we can do. Yeah, so as you can hear in the digital section of the wavetables, Debussy and Digital Saw both sound quite good. But yeah, that's the finished patch. So please hit subscribe and like this. Get over to the website Londonpatchwork.com and download the patch and the midis if you want. Leave a comment if you've got any questions, and I'll see you next time. Peace.